Hello, everybody. It's Clear Vision Wednesday time. I am Claudia Mühlenweg. I'm the creator of the Naturally Clear Vision method. And this is my weekly show. So make sure you subscribe to this show. If you're in any shape or form interested in natural vision improvement, about your keeping your eyes in top shape as you get older, especially, right? We've been told so many things that happen, and we know we can do so much. We have so much power over our vision. And today is a great topic. So basically, I got this question a lot, and I don't really know the answer, right? This is like something I use in eyeliner, but eye makeup, right? Is this actually dangerous for our eyes? And so I'm excited to bring on Neuro Ophthalmologist Dr. Rani Banik. She has a practice in New York and teaches at Mount Sinai. Welcome to the show, Dr. Rani.
Thank you so much, Claudia. It is such a pleasure to be here and to chat with you about one topic that I think doesn't get discussed as much as it should, which is healthy eye makeup tips.
And you are the expert. You're an ophthalmologist. You see patients every day. You teach. So nobody would be better suited to educate us on this, because I always say, I don't know. I'm probably not good to use this. So really quickly, before we get into the nitty gritty, just maybe share just a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into ophthalmology.
Sure. So my love of eyes began back when I was a college student, and I knew that I was going to go to medical school, but I had no idea which field I would be interested in. So I started shadowing different doctors. So I shadowed like a pediatrician, I shadowed a family practice doctor, dermatologist, and then I shadowed an ophthalmologist. And I went with him. It was the most incredible day of my life. I went with him to clinic. I watched him examine patients, take care of children, all the way to older people. I went to the operating room with him. I watched him do surgeries, and I fell in love. And I said, this is what I want to do, because vision, as we all know, vision is such a precious gift, and we need to protect it and to preserve it. And so I wanted to dedicate my life to helping people see better. So that's kind of where it began. And then I went through my training. I did a fellowship in neuro ophthalmology. So basically all the connections between the brain and the eyes, which I'm sure you know a lot about as well, Claudia. And also then I did certification with functional medicine as well. So I'm also a functional medicine provider. I worked with Institute for Functional Medicine. So I base my practice and my treatment protocols on root cause analysis for eye health. So if there's a problem, where is it coming from? Let's treat it at its root cause. Don't just put a Band-Aid on it, but really try to get to the bottom of what's causing the problem.
I love that. And that's why you're on the show. And we had a couple other eye doctors before, and actually everybody has done functional medicine, right? Because you look beyond the obvious, right? And you don't just work with Band-Aid approaches. And that's why I'm so excited. And I hope there will be a lot more of you, and hope you're teaching other eye doctors at some point to look at the root cause. So again, and I know you just have a new book. We're going to have you back here, and maybe in February for AMD month, because you wrote an incredible book, Beyond Carrots. And we will put all the links there, right? But today we want to talk about makeup, because like you said, I have never heard anybody talk about this. So tell us, maybe we don't have an actual framework for this, but what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make? Or what do you see in your practice, like maybe infections or something like that are related to makeup?
Sure. So first of all, I'll just say that makeup can be beautiful if applied in the right way. So the key is, if you're going to use it in a safe way that's not going to potentially hurt your eyes in the long run. So, so many of us, we want to have big, bright, beautiful eyes, big, beautiful lashes. And yes, you can get that. But again, just take these safety measures. So what I'd like to start off with, we can talk about like the different types of eye makeup. We can talk about eyeliner and mascara and eyeshadow, can go through each of those, and how to choose safe makeup practices for all of these. So we start with eyeliner. So eyeliner, basically, no matter what it's made out of, whether it's coal or other types of black pigment, minerals, basically it's fine particulate matter, and the thing is, when you apply it, you have to make sure that you're not blocking. We have these tiny little glands in our eyelids that secrete oils. And if they don't secrete oils properly, people end up with dry eye. So when you put on the eyeliner, make sure that you are not blocking those glands. Now, let me show you what they look like. Claudia, you're asking if I had props. I don't have any makeup props, because I don't wear eye makeup, but I have other props. So Let me show you this.
Let me hide my picture so we see your full screen. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So this is an image of an eyelid pulled down. So imagine you pull down your eyelid, you're looking at it, and these black kind of lines, these are actually the glands in your eyelids. And each eyelid, upper and lower, has about 25 to 30 glands in each lid. And these glands, they look like little fingers, but they're full of oils, basically. They secrete oils for our tears. And if the glands are not functioning properly, then our tears are going to evaporate quickly and people will have dry eye. So basically, this is a healthy eyelid. You can see that there's lots of glands. This is an eyelid in which there's already some gland loss. You can see here that there's a whole area where there's loss. You can see here the glands are a little bit short. They're not as nice and long as they should be. Here, there's some gland loss as well. So I would say this is about 30% gland loss. And then here, this is a picture of very, very severe gland loss. So you can see that these little glands that are left here, they're like little stubs. They're not healthy. They've been destroyed. And so what can happen is when you block the opening of the gland, which is basically if you pull your eyelid down, you see where the lashes are. Inside of that, you see like the little dots. If you see like little white dots, those are the openings of the glands. And if you block those glands with eyeliner, then those glands are not going to be able to secrete oils properly. They may get clogged. You can end up with a sty. You can end up with dry eye. But most importantly, the glands can start to die off. And so you don't want to block those glands on a regular basis and go from here to here to here. Because if you lose those glands, that's irreversible. You cannot get them back. And so you just want to preserve the glands that you have. And this is a really important test to do, especially if you have dry eye. So go see your eye doctor, ask for, it's called LipiScan. So you can ask to get this done. It's non-invasive. It takes about 5 minutes, super simple. I do it in my office all the time. And that will tell you where you are in terms of your glands. But eyeliner, especially along the waterline, which is where those gland openings are, will block the glands and potentially damage the glands long-term if you use it every day. Now, if you want to use it once in a while, let's say you're going to a special occasion, you have some big event, you can use it. I'm not saying don't use it. It's really with regular use that you have to be a little bit cautious.
Now I'm a little worried because this is definitely, I don't use much makeup either. But this has been something I've been probably doing as a teenager almost every day. It's putting exactly that, but I'm putting on the, what is it called? LipiScan. So it's L-I-P-I and then scan. Okay.
LipiScan, yeah. Because the glands secrete lipids. So that's why you're looking at the glands that secrete the oils. LipiScan is what it's called.
Okay. I will definitely I want to get that done now. Okay. So I will definitely
come to see me in New York. I'll do it for you. And so there's actually a treatment, like if the glands are clogged and, or if they're degenerating, there is a treatment called LipiFlow. And because, I look at kind of root cause, what's going on with the eyes. We do LipiFlow for people who have dry eye or other issues. Like if you've had a lot of styes, LipiFlow is very, very good to basically unclog the glands and get them reset. So it's really a great treatment. I actually had really bad dry eye myself for years, and I got LipiFlow done about maybe like 4 or 5 years ago now. And my dry eye is basically gone. Like I don't have dry eye anymore.
Is that injections? Is it like, what is it, like something that's topically applied? Like, how does it work?
It's actually, it's not an injection. It's actually heat. It's heat and then a gentle massage. So it's almost like getting a facial for your eyelids. So basically the heat loosens up the clogged glands, like whatever oil is clogged in there. And there's a gentle pressure that helps to excrete like whatever clogged material is inside the glands. But it's kind very
like acne, right? And acne, there's fat. So, okay, but you said it's not reversible, but this will still help somebody who has, like, I don't have dry eyes at all, but somebody, so I'm curious because I've obviously been using this for like over 50 years. I never had a sty in my life. I never had any eye infection in my life. I never had dry eyes. But it's like my grandpa died at 97 and he smoked cigars. You can't make what is it called? The causal, like, right? So you see a lot of people with these symptoms. And do you have any idea how many of these have used cosmetics, or like, do you have a kind of an idea what the connection is in terms of use of cosmetics versus hormonal changes or other changes that could be causing
That's a really great point, Claudia. So there's been no study done to really look at why people have accelerated gland loss. Yes, it can happen as people get older, but I've even seen like teens, even kids with gland loss. And so they really shouldn't have gland loss. So we don't know exactly what it is. Yes, it could be using products, but it could also be hormones. It could be excessive screen time, just looking, staring at a screen and developing dry eye and not blinking enough. We don't really know exactly what causes gland loss. The other thing is autoimmune disease. So I've definitely seen people with autoimmune conditions like lupus or other things like thyroid eye disease who have a lot of gland loss. So there's many, many things that can cause it. So it's important to, really think about it again, kind of do a little detective work about what could be causing the gland loss. But that's really a great question. I don't think it's ever been studied, and it really should be. Like it really should be studied to see what's going on, what causes gland loss. One thing I want to just point out, I think somebody had asked a question, is eyeliner above and below the eyelashes, not on the waterline okay? Yes, absolutely. So if you want to put it on the outside of your lash line, that's totally fine. Underneath, on the outside of your lash line, yes. Don't put it directly on the lash line either, because there are little glands there too, and they can get clogged and lead to styes also. So just be careful with that.
So more like the Egyptians or Amy Winehouse, right? That I cannot draw that straight line. Like I'm not going to even try. Plus, I don't want black like that. But okay. But does
so
it?
You know what? I actually don't wear eye makeup, and mainly because of that reason, because I could never get it right. And this is even before I became an eye doctor. Like I could never get it right. I always had like uneven, asymmetric looking eyeliner. And I was just like, forget this. I'm not doing it.
That's a good, so I will stop doing this for sure. This is a great tip. And we're going to cover all the other things. Now, I had another question about, so I use, when it comes to cosmetics, right? This big trend is, I bought this from Germany, but it's like, they call it nature cosmetic, meaning like, not the, we have that in skincare too, like as natural as possible. But when it comes to pigments, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference. Like I'm just generally, before we get into like different eyeshadows, so does it make, because I found even lead in lipstick, for instance, right? Does it make sense to buy the more, what do we call this brand? Like natural cosmetic brands versus, do you see?
I think looking for brands that come from reputable manufacturers, hopefully they don't have any heavy metals in them. They're usually made out of different kinds of plant pigments. And there's one brand that I really like. Actually, one of my colleagues who's an ophthalmologist, she launched the brand. It's called 2020. I think 2020 I'm not sure exactly, but you can find it. But basically, she's researched, all the ingredients in her products, and she makes sure that they're sourced from reputable places, that they don't have heavy metals, etc. And but she does also talk about what I was explaining, like just be careful how you use it. No matter how good the product is, if you're not using it in a safe way, it could still cause you issues.
So what about eyeshadow? Okay, so the next thing that people do right before we get into fake lashes is like eyeshadow, which is put on the, and I'm bad at, I never learned, I never went to makeup school, so I usually stay away from those things. But it's like there's cream, there's powders, and I would think with powders, sometimes you get these little pieces floating down, like they tell us a little bit about that, about eyeshadow.
Yeah, so eyeshadow, the issue is if it gets in your eye, and some eyeshadows have like these tiny little glitter specks in them, or like metallic specks in them, and they can really get inside, into the eye, on your cornea. They can really exacerbate dry eye. They can cause allergic reactions. So what you were saying earlier, it comes in different forms. Maybe consider getting like the cream form, so it's not like a powder, so it's not going to go everywhere and it'll stay exactly where you put it, rather than getting like, like a very loose powdery kind of form. And definitely please stay away from, there's these eyeshadows that have like the really big pieces of glitter in them. Have you seen that? Like big, like square pieces of silver glitter. Please do not use those, because if that tiny piece of glitter, it's not even glitter, I don't even know what you would call it, like a piece of metal, basically. If it gets in your eye, it can scratch your cornea. And, it's just not worth that, because it's so painful to have a corneal abrasion. Like, why would you risk that? So just try to stay away from heavily metallic or glitter-based eyeshadows.
That's a good tip. Yeah, if anything, I use cream. And what about like now, speaking of the powder, I never use much makeup in the first place, but you had the powder blushes and the younger people. As you get older, you want to use all the reflection you can to deflect from the wrinkles. So I use more shiny things, if anything, right? More the cream base versus. But what about general makeup powder, right? People have these big brushes. I've seen that, and they just powder the. I would think that's all the same risk. Those things
Yeah,
can.
just keep your eyes closed when you're doing it. Make sure it doesn't get in your eye. I mean, it can really irritate you because the particles are so fine and the cornea is so sensitive to like anything that, imagine just getting a little speck of dust in your eye if you're walking on the street. It's really uncomfortable. So imagine like tiny, tiny little particulate matter getting in from your makeup. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, and it's not a natural compound, I would assume. So what are other mistakes that people make? What other things do you see in your practice where that you can makeup related things?
Let's talk eyelashes.
Okay.
Let's talk eyelashes. So everyone wants beautiful, thick, luxurious lashes. And yes, they look amazing. And for a while, there was a big, big trend with the false eyelashes that are like glue, lash extensions, basically.
Right, right.
And I saw so many complications from lash extensions, so many. So first of all, the glue itself, it gets, they apply it really like a thick coating of glue, and that glue can easily block your eyelid glands. I mean, the people putting it on, even the best of estheticians, they don't really know. And so they may just put on too much. It may block your glands. I've seen so many women end up with styes and end up having to have their styes cut out because their eyelash extension glue blocked their glands.
Oh my God, that's scary.
Yeah. And then the other thing is the glue itself can really irritate like the skin right here, and people can get something called blepharitis because of that. The skin can get kind of dandruffy, flaky. It can get really red and irritated, cause itching. And then also sometimes even after people take off the lashes, it actually pulls off their natural lashes. So they end up with losing their natural lashes when they're using these false lashes. So I don't recommend glue-based lash extensions. Instead, what I typically recommend is if you want to wear lash extensions, again, maybe not every day, but let's say if it's a special event, you're going to a party or a wedding or whatever, I would choose the magnetic lashes. Have you seen those before?
I've tried the glue ones maybe 3 times in my life when I was young, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Magnetic? Never heard of this.
It's an interesting technology. And actually there's another ophthalmologist who has her company, who I forget the name of the company, but she uses, so it's an eyeliner, like a black eyeliner, whatever color that you put above the lashes it's magnetized. And then the lashes are also magnetized. So the base is magnetized. So it just sticks. So you put the black liner on first, or again, whatever color it is. I think you can get it in a brown also. You put that again over your lash line, so it's not blocking your glands. You stick the lashes on, and then it looks great. It looks just like false eyelashes. And then when it's time to take it off, there's a special remover that you can use to remove it. And it's very unlikely that that's going to go and clog your glands. It's very unlikely that magnetic lashes will peel off your regular lashes. So I think it's a much safer, healthier alternative to wearing like glue-based lash extensions.
Wow, that is fascinating. I'm learning so much here. What are other mistakes that people make, or what do you see in your practice that could be, traced to makeup?
Yeah, so just going back to lashes, even mascara itself, I know so many women wear it, even some men wear it now, I guess, but those little particles, that the black or whatever color it is gets into your eye. And every time I see a patient with dry eye and I look, they're wearing mascara, they have tiny little black particles all over their cornea. I wish I had a picture to show you because
really?
It's like clumps of black material that get from the lashes into the eye. It's completely coating the cornea. So if you have dry eye, it's really going to irritate you. Or if you wear contacts, some people wear contacts, it will really, really make your vision very, very blurry. So this is another reason why I don't wear mascara either, because I don't want all that black stuff getting inside my eye.
I used to, a long time ago, I used to dye my eyelashes, so that they actually look longer. Would that be a safe alternative? I think you can get that done in beauty salons. So how you dye your hair, you could actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as they're careful and when they're applying the dye, they're being careful not to touch the glands, like the waterline, stay away from the waterline. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I use the again natural cosmetic mascara, but I think speaking of mascara, removing it right now I use castor oil, and so tell us, is that a good eye makeup removers, a lot of times they're water and oil, and then you have to shake them, and then you do it, and I look into the big magnifying mirror and I still see, like you said, all these little black clumps. I have not seen any on my cornea, but a quick question before we get to that. Do you see them with the naked eye on the cornea? Or are you literally like with your instruments looking at the cornea? You see
have
all
to
these
look with the instruments because it's microscopic. Again, I wish
wow.
I had a picture to show you, but it gets everywhere. All those, and it
So
gets in the
scary.
corner here, over here, and it causes crusting. It's quite messy, actually. I mean, it may look beautiful because you just see it on the outside of the lashes, but microscopic.
Wow. Yeah,
It,
make a picture of that. I want to kind of see that, because sometimes they might think they're floaters and it's just mascara clumps on the cornea.
yeah.
Like not the eye. Oh, that's so scary. Oh my God, now you're really scaring me, but this is
I
good.
don't know. I don't want to scare anyone. I just want
My
to
point is like getting smart, right? Getting smart about
use
this.
safe practices.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because our eyes are so precious, right? And like at the end of the day, we don't look beautiful if we can't see well. I mean, this is because actually I talk a lot about how you look more vibrant and youthful without glasses, and taking care of your health and from the inside out, right? What you do in the root cause, right? How we have that glow in our eyes and kind of looking young
A
and
twinkle. Yes.
right. But the last thing we want is now creating damage because we're trying to make ourselves a little bit more beautiful. So this is so helpful. Okay, what other mistakes? This is great. I am learning a lot. What other things do you see?
Okay, I'll tell you another mistake. This is not necessarily makeup specific, but cosmetic, I guess you could say, like appearance specific. So, a lot of people, they love to rub their eyes, right?
Yeah.
If they have allergies and their eyes are itching, it just feels sometimes so good to go and just rub your eyes, right? But please don't do that. Because when you do that, what happens is the skin around our eyes is so fine, the little capillaries under the skin break. And you get little, areas of, tiny microhemorrhages, and it ends up causing dark circles. So, you've probably seen some people who have like really, really dark circles, like we call them allergic shiners. So, shiners when somebody gets hit in the eye, but it's not because they got hit in the eye there, it's because they have allergies and they're rubbing their eyes a lot. So that's one of the main reasons why people develop those dark, dark circles, is because they just rub their eyes so much. So
sorry, just to be clear, the blood vessels, you're not talking about the eyelid blood vessel, but you want on the sclera, on the white part of the eye, or where?
No, on the eyelid. They're actually on the skin, either it's mainly underneath that there's, the skin is really, really fine and we see it. But sometimes people even have like their entire upper eyelid. I don't know if you've seen some people, their entire upper eyelid looks really, really dark. Like their pigmentation. And it's not just pigmentation, it's actually because some of those blood vessels have burst because people are rubbing their eyes a lot. So that's something to watch out for sure.
Wow. So basically, the dark circles could be related to rubbing. I know that keratoconus, there's this video if you Google online on YouTube, right? When you look up for like eye rubbing MRI video, and you see it's like these soft little squishy eyeballs, and they just got like, wow, it looks so scary. I've actually shared that on Instagram at some point. They did some imaging, so that rubbing your eyeballs is not a good idea. But I didn't even know that it's related to the dark circles. So really, this is basically excessively rubbing your eyes, right? But somebody does it excessively, like every day.
Excessively, yeah. And sometimes people have dark circles and it is genetic. Like there are some people, it just runs in families, their parents have it, their grandparents have it, they have it. But for other people in whom it's acquired, that's usually a main cause of it, is like allergy related or dry eye related eye rubbing, excessive eye rubbing. It's tempting. It really is. It's really, really tempting just to feel, it makes you feel good. But please, instead of doing that, what I would say is take a cold compress and put it on your eyes. because the cold will help with the dry eyes, it will help with the allergies, but it'll also help to constrict blood vessels. Like that cold temperature is going to constrict all the little blood vessels here. So hopefully you don't end up with really dark circles.
So cold. And what about, like, sometimes for dry eyes, I like the warm compresses to kind of release some of that. Is it good to do both, or would you just?
Yeah, so the warm compresses, what they do is basically, we'll go back to this picture here. The glands, the heat loosens all the clogged material in the glands. And then once the material is excreted, then the glands can produce healthy oil. So that's why warm compresses are usually indicated for dry eye and styes and things like that, to help keep the glands healthy, keep them producing healthy oils. But cool compresses are better for allergy type issues.
Got it. That's a great tip. So you also, I think like saggy, like what about those, bags that some people have under the eyes? I don't even know what you call them. Saggy eyes?
Eye bags usually.
Okay.
So let me ask you, maybe we can do a quick poll. What does everybody think those eye bags are made out of? I'll give you some options. Do you think it's mucus? Do you think it's lymph? Or do you think it's fat?
God, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Okay, again, the options are mucus, lymph, or fat.
I would think lymph, but it could, it's hard to say. I don't know. What is the answer? Give us the.
Okay, so most people who answered said lymph. The answer is actually fat. And I will explain why. So, our eyes are in our eye sockets, and they're cushioned by fat pads. So we have 3 fat pads in the upper lid and 2 in the lower lid. So it's basically like a cushion. So, it's kind of our eyeballs resting in there, and it's protected by all this fat. And what happens is when we're young, the fat basically stays back. But as we get older, our skin stretches out, and these fat pads pooch out. And they're almost like, kind of pooching forward. And it causes, some people have eye bags where you can actually see like a whole thing here. That's a whole fat pad that's extruded through from the back of the eye into under the skin. And it's looking like a sag or eye bag. So that's what that is. And basically the fat becomes, it just gets displaced. And usually it's got a lot of water content. So if you, for example, have foods that are high in salt, it'll cause your fat pads to kind of swell up. Just kind of like if you have a salty meal, sometimes you feel a little bit bloated or something like that. It'll cause those fat pads to swell up. So if you have a lot of bags under your eyes, stay away from salty foods. That's really, really important. And you can also do cool compresses for that. Also, you can also use serums that have caffeine in them, because the caffeine will help to constrict blood vessels and kind of help to decrease the puffiness. So those are some really simple tips you can use for like eye bags and sags.
So do you have a recommendation for that caffeine, that serum that you talked about? And we put that, by the way, in the YouTube chat about the 2020, that makeup line. And then you said there was another makeup line that we need to make sure we get all that information.
I'll have to get that for you. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, I think it's called Opulence MD, I think is the magnetic lashes. You can check on that for me. But Opulence MD, I think, is the name of the brand. They were actually on Shark Tank. Like the founder went on Shark Tank to promote her business.
Okay, my Trisha will research that and put the link, Opulence MD. We will check that and put that also in the YouTube chat. That is all so super interesting. So, but obviously at some point, if it's really bad, people might need some kind of cosmetic surgery if it's really bothersome, right? Like there is.
Yeah, and that's the only way to really get rid of it, is to take it out. But I try to advise people not to do that, to try to do whatever they can to prevent it and manage it more naturally before opting for surgery.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page there. I've never done any kind of whatever, not even Botox. I've never done any cosmetic surgery ever. And I don't want to.
But Claudia, whatever you're doing great.
You too, Rani. But my point is sometimes it could be really so bad, so that I totally understand if it's like, that you at some point that the natural methods, So what about, I know this is not directly related to cosmetics, maybe not, but what about bloodshot eyes? Like I have some burst vessels in my right eye that I had since my 20s, in my in the sclera and the white part of the eye. The Halloween eyes, to say, like, could that be related to cosmetic use, or is that usually
It
from
can
something else?
be. We all have blood vessels on the surface of the eye because our blood, our eyes need blood, right? So they're not all bad. Sometimes though they can get really dilated and look very prominent, and they can look really not so good, not so cosmetically acceptable. So basically, things that can trigger that would be dry eye and also allergy. Those are two common things that can make the blood vessels more prominent on the surface of your eye. So what I would say is, if your eyes are dry, then try to manage that. Use the hot compresses like you suggested. Maybe use some lubricating drops to soothe the eye so it's not so irritated and there's not too much friction there. And that usually will help with the redness. Some people actually need to have prescription drops for that. Like if they have really, really severe red eye, or if they have really severe allergy and they have a lot of like an allergic response on their eyelids that can really cause a lot of chemicals to be released that will worsen the redness. So they may need to have a prescription drop to decrease the redness. There is one drop that's over the counter. You may have seen it. It's called Lumify. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't usually. I stay away from eye drops. I never had dry eyes myself, but what is it called?
It's called Lumify, Lumify, and it's over the counter. You can get it at your local drugstore, CVS, Duane Reade, Walgreens. And it is FDA approved, and basically, but you don't need a prescription. Basically, what it does is it can get the red out because it constricts to the tiny blood vessel. So let's say, again, you have an event that you're going to and you don't want your eyes to look red, or they're just really irritated from being out in the sun or on the beach or something, and you really want your eyes to look white and bright, then you can use the drop. But I would just be very, very cautious in how you're using it, because if you use it too regularly, let's say use it every single day, what's going to happen is your eyes are going to get used to it, and either it won't work anymore, or when you stop working it or using it, your redness will come back with a vengeance. Like it'll be really, really, really red. So I would only use it for very, very select occasions. Definitely not on a daily basis, but it does work. Like if you really need to, you can use it. I actually have a patient who's a pretty big personality in the media, and he's on TV all the time. And he's like, I just need to use this. Like without this, I can't go on TV with my eyes looking red like this. So I said, okay, only for TV, but please don't use it every day. Yeah.
So it should be a rare occasion where you use this. So we do have a bunch of questions on YouTube, and one of them that we haven't really covered yet is, we touched on that a little bit, but what about castor oil? I absolutely love. I have an eye makeup remover from Germany usually that I get some of the stuff off, but I love, and there's actually some eye remover cloth that I bought recently at Costco, where you don't even need products, and it's just like some kind of soft, and it removes a lot. But then when I look with a magnifying glass, I usually get a Q-tip and I put it in castor oil, and then there's just kind of like, I close my eyes and I kind of get the rest of the mascara clumps out. But I don't use mascara more than once a week tops, for this show maybe, but usually I don't wear it. Mm-hmm. What are your tips for like eye makeup removal now that we, like, most of us don't want to wear it anymore at all, but if we do wear makeup, or maybe we were at the party and we did have more the fancy stuff and the eyeshadow and the mascara, what's the good way to get this?
Yeah, so there's, as you mentioned, there's a lot of different types of eye makeup remover out there. The ones that work the best are the ones that have an oil base. And so you could use castor oil or just plain mineral oil. That works really well as well. And what I recommend doing is just make sure you're not getting it inside your eye, that you're just using it on the outside. So put a little bit on a cotton ball, and just kind of soak the cotton ball, and then just rub it with your eye closed until, when you look at it, all the black stuff is gone. So maybe keep using multiple cotton balls until you're sure that there's no more black coming off, or again, whatever color your makeup is, your mascara. So just be careful. Don't get it inside your eye. And there's a couple of reasons for you to be careful about that. One is, number one, a lot of these makeup removers, they're probably not sterile. And so they may be potentially contaminated. You don't know. Even organic products may not be sterile. And so you don't want to get anything in your eye. And the second reason is because we're not really sure about the pH of these products, and the surface of the eye has a certain pH. And if something else comes into it that's not the same pH, it's really going to sting and burn. So I'll give you the example of baby shampoo. Use it because baby shampoo, the pH is balanced to the eye. And that's why for babies and kids, even if they get it in their eye, it's not going to sting so much. But, other products may not be pH balanced for the eye. So two important reasons to be just cautious when you're taking your makeup off and just using it on the outside.
Wow, this is so fascinating. What is the pH of the eyes? I don't know.
I think it's 7.2, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Or maybe it's 7.4, but it's definitely a little bit on the basic side. But again, if it's slightly off, it will really sting. And you just get any kind of non-baby shampoo in your eye and you'll feel it. And that's because the pH is not balanced.
Yeah, we definitely, and we don't want to get any castor oil. There's a lot of questions about castor oil, and I know there's sterile castor oil eye drops. I use Queen of the Thrones, but I never put anything into them. I've never in my whole life put anything in my eyes. I tried contacts once in my, early on, and I was like, I can't get this out. Like, I don't like even I don't know. I just don't like it. There's a natural reflex. But tell us a little bit about so there's a lot of questions about castor oil. Somebody asked about putting it on the white of the eye. No, you don't put that into the eye. What about sterile? And this is not about cosmetics, but what about sterile castor oil? Can that be put into the eyes?
So if it's been formulated for the eye, I don't know, sterile if what it's formulated for, but if it's formulated specifically for the eye and it's coming from a reputable manufacturer, remember that recently, just last week, there were so many more drops that were recalled by the FDA, and it keeps happening. Like every couple of weeks, we keep hearing about more and more eye drops that are generic, mainly generics, that are contaminated, and they've caused severe infections of the cornea, or even the bacteria has gotten into the bloodstream, and there are actually 2 people reported who've died because they've used contaminated eye drops. It's really scary. So why risk it, right? So I would say, again, make sure you're getting it. If you're actually putting it in your eye, make sure it's coming from a reputable manufacturer. Make sure that it is pH balanced for your eye. And it's really interesting you bring that up, because a couple of years ago, my father-in-law was asking me, he was like, Rani, I have really, really dry eye, and this is what I've been using. Is it safe? And he pulls out castor oil, like with a dropper. And I said, oh, that was, a couple of years ago, I'd never even heard about castor oil being put into the eyes. And he said, yeah, it's helping me a lot. And I said, okay, you can use it, but just make sure you're getting it from a reputable manufacturer. And he's been doing okay. Like, he uses it still every day, and he's been luckily okay without any issues. But the other thing I want to talk about castor oil is that there are a lot of videos on social media now using castor oil for lash growth to help people, like as a lash serum kind of. And I was really skeptical at first. I was like, I don't know how it would work. Like, really, like, why would it help lashes grow? But I've seen people who use castor oil, and I haven't tried it myself, but I've definitely seen that their lashes look like they're thicker and more luxurious. So same thing, you can use it, and make sure you're using it just on the outside and you're not getting it in the eye.
Right. That's exactly what I do. I just put it like organic castor oil. Never put anything into the eye. So we don't want to do that. And if you do that, then get it from an eye doctor, or get a sterile, pH balanced castor oil specifically for use with the eyes. That's really important. Everything else, we want to stay external around the eye. So this has been so fascinating. Everybody's saying this is so informative. The question was about, the scary part when you talk about the mascara on the cornea, on the eyes, like the flecks. Obviously, great. Thank you. Lisa is her name, asking, like, how do you get rid of that? Is that a way to remove that? Like, if you see that.
Yeah. I mean, when you blink, what happens is when you blink, there's a whole system in your eyes to flush out the eyes. So your natural tears are helping to flush it out. So that will help you get rid of it. But the best thing to do is, when you take off your makeup, make sure you're trying to get all of it off. Make sure there's nothing left on your cotton swab or Q-tip. And then also use a sterile eye rinse. And if you feel like there's something still in there, just use a sterile eye rinse and try to get it all out.
Oh, what is that? So it's like little artificial tears, but you put it, it's like a rinse.
It
Because I've
comes
seen it.
in a larger bottle. It comes in a
Uh-huh.
larger bottle, and it'll say like a sterile eye wash.
Mm.
And it is made for that, to flush out your eyes. So you can use it, and as long as you don't touch it to your lashes, it will stay sterile. So don't touch the tip, because then you'll contaminate
Right.
it. But just be careful, and
Right.
then you can wash it out. And the other thing, this is probably not the best thing to do, but honestly, a lot of people, when they take a shower, a lot of what gets in their eye from their makeup gets washed out anyway. And it's not sterile, right? You're taking a shower, but it does work to get rid of some of that the flecks and the other, small particles from your eyes.
Wow, this is so fascinating. And I hope everybody, like I said, we don't want to scare you, but I think being smart about these things and not just following the latest trends. And your eyes are so precious. And, oftentimes, I don't know about you, but people that come to me when it's like, it's kind of too late, right? You don't want to, you want to be very smart about this and very careful and really treat your eyes like your most precious babies or whatever, what's really important to you. We often take everything for granted. So I don't see any new questions in the YouTube. So I think we can kind of end the YouTube here. This was super, super interesting. And where can people find you? I think you're on Instagram. Like we have all the links in the show notes and YouTube. So just in case, but is
So
there anything else?
they can go to my website, which is drranibanik.com. And I have my book on there. I have a whole line of supplements if anyone's interested in supplements that are curated for eye health. And and then you can connect with me on social media on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube.
And then obviously you see you in your practice. So is that you're in your practice? I know you also do surgery. So basically people, is it part of a healthcare plan, or is it a private practice? I think it's a private practice.
It's a
right?
private practice. I'm based in New York City. And so if you happen to be in New York or you're willing to travel to New York, I'd be happy to see you. And I do a whole, my visits are not like regular eye doctor visits that are only 10 or 15 minutes. I actually spend like a couple of hours with each patient to really get to the bottom of what's going on, to help them. And I always first use natural strategies, always first natural. And then if, someone's kind of progressed and they really need to have a surgery, then we can talk about that as well. But I'm just like you were mentioning earlier, our eyes are precious and we need to do whatever we can to protect them. So be proactive. Don't wait for something to happen, like a cataract or macular degeneration. Do something now so you don't end up with vision loss down the line.
Thank you. That was so, so, so interesting. And we can talk about Castor. Again, there was questions about cataracts and Castor, but I don't want to open up a new can of worms. And that wasn't really our topic today. So I really, when I'm going to definitely see you when I haven't been to New York in forever, but I love that you really want to get to the root cause, and you can't do that in this 10 to 15-minute appointment, right? You really want to, and really focusing on the natural solutions first. And only if that doesn't work anymore, then going to the additional routes, with treatments. Thank you so much, Dr. Rani. This was a pleasure, and you really taught me so much that I didn't know. And I hope everybody else, people are putting in there, very informative. So thank you so much. And I'm glad that we have this video now, because this is, like you said, nobody really talks much about eye makeup at all in terms of eye health. And is this all okay to use? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And YouTube, we're going to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. We see you next week. So make sure to subscribe and like and follow Dr. Rani on social media. Check out her website, get her book. We will talk more about the book in February, Beyond Carrots. It's an amazing book.